thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Tonight, the news not good for a pregnant woman reported missing yesterday. Her lifeless body found in bushes just off a busy roadway this morning. Tonight, the calls for capital punishment are even louder. The Golden Isles by-election is just over 1 month away. Tonight, we zero in on the largest constituency in the Bahamas, almost 8,000 voters. And the Free National Movement gives a sneak peek of its plans for the Bahamas if successful at the polls. We will take a look at some of what the FNM is promising. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, a heart-wrenching discovery by police this morning. The body of a woman in bushes off a street just off Gladstone Road. The discovery made worse as police pieced together the puzzle. They discovered it was the pregnant woman reported missing late yesterday. Or was she? Well, you'll hear a whole lot of stuff in this report coming up. Here's Linton Ritchie Jr., who's been following this story all day.
A tip leading investigators to the gruesome discovery of the partially decomposed body of Lauren Saunders, a 30-year-old mother of two who was 7 months pregnant off Munnings Road after vanishing on Sunday evening. The scene an emotional one for loved ones as they were overcome with grief for the dead mother. Authorities intercepting those attempting to break beyond the caution tape to bear witness to the discovery. At one point, an ambulance was even called to the scene after a relative of the victim passed out. Those grief-stricken family members also questioning the motive behind Lauren's suspected murder after authorities revealed foul play was involved. Tonight, police confirming that a man is in custody.
Senseless people killing people for no reason because you didn't want a child. Come on, you could have walked away and leave her.
The victim's pastor revealing that days before the pregnant mother shared, she felt uncomfortable.
He said, Prof, I need you to cover me. I said, because you didn't abort the baby. He's pleased with you.
In desperation, family members searched till dusk on Tuesday from Frank Watson Boulevard to Gladstone Road. They allege, though, they were not allowed near the vicinity where Saunders' body was found.
They never allowed us to come here on Munnings Road. We were on Gladstone Road last night after 10 o'clock.
Police must let us go further than right up in this area.
However, authorities are defending their efforts after family made it clear they felt as if sufficient resources were not on the ground during the most critical hours.
Last night as well, all throughout the Western District of the province. Well, CID officers, along with drones and dogs, K9. But I can say that family members were updated at every stage of this investigation.
Well, the Minister of National Security, Wayne Munro, is defending the work of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, claiming officers acted swiftly and decisively in the investigation that led to the discovery of Lauren Saunders on Munnings Road this morning. In a statement, Munro said police launched a full-scale response immediately after Saunders was reported missing on Sunday, issuing a missing persons flyer that same day and issuing a what? A missing persons. I wonder if we missed that. I don't remember seeing it. In any event, go back a little bit, please. And so issuing a missing persons flyer that same day and mobilizing officers to track down leads. By Monday, a person of interest was in custody. Now, we did hear that. There's been a person of interest in custody since Monday. The search, he says, this is Munro, intensified on Tuesday with 69 police officers, drones and K9 units scouring ponds and bushes and coastal areas across western New Providence. Now, Munro praised, keep it going. Monroe praised the officers for their compassion and dedication and thanked members of the public who assisted in the search. He also expressed condolences to the Saunders family, saying, "We share their grief, we pray for their comfort, and we remain committed to seeing justice served for the family." Well, we're going to start right there. There's a whole lot more to get into this, including many of you, more than 90% of you calling for capital punishment to be enforced. We will get to that in a moment. But first, welcome to Beyond the Headlines contributors Peggy Scott, Peggy Candace, and Glenroy Pratt. Good evening to both of you. It's great to have you both here.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me, Shanique.
Good evening, Shanique, and good evening, Bahamas.
You all, it's quite unfortunate just to see the share, the grief and the heartache of the family and loved ones in that story by Linton a moment ago. Of course, and a lot of things are being said, whether or not the missing persons report was put out, or even a flyer, as was said there. We may have missed that one. But certainly, though, police cannot act until 48 hours of an adult being reported missing. Yes?
Yes.
That's the law.
Yeah. It's little we can kind of almost say about this, but certainly the share of violence of whatever was involved here against a woman comes up again, and many women's groups in particular, and persons, just regular common sense human beings, just feel as though, listen, if you cannot resolve an issue, if there is a problem, walk away. It's always the best thing to do.
In theory, it is. It's the best thing to do. It's easier to say than done. We have lived through this. We have experienced this grief, hearing those cries. We've been here before in this country when it comes to the life of a woman. Like you said, it's so little you can say. I mean, so much is being said already. So much has been put out in public even before the discovery. The police action or inaction will continue to be debated. But one of the things that I've heard little of is the fetus, the 7-month fetus. Mm-hmm. That has been on my mind.
That's a baby.
Yeah. And at premature birth could have lived. And so what is the legal ramification for that in this country? Is the baby recognized as a baby or as a fetus? And is it one murder or double murder? That is the thoughts that I'm having.
Yeah, I want to extend condolences to the families in this incident. Obviously, it's heartbreaking, and it's never a comfortable or a comforting experience to lose a loved one in such a tragic way. You know, when you find out that they are missing, there's a void that is not filled because you don't know where they are, and you're just hoping to find them. And then to have it crushed by the realities of how they died, and to think about the loneliness and the dark, and it's just, all of it is just terrible. And I just want to extend condolences to the family. I know in these times there are a lot of blame that goes around, and sometimes perceptions are high because lack of information is being thrusted forward, and that being from when I was seeing the families doing their search. They galvanized a group of people, and they decided to search what seems to have been their own efforts and not supported by the law enforcement agency. Mm-hmm. However, behind the scenes, it appears that the police had already had information because the individual suspect was already in custody from Monday. And it all, to me, sometimes in these instances, I think communication is key.
It is key.
You know, and I think there was a lack of communication that created a sense of even further inaction thought by the family. But at the end of the day, when a family member dies in such a tragic way, there can be no blame or no pointing of fingers that can bring them back. And so the only thing now is for the family to find a way to enjoy the memories they have of that individual, because we are only a collection of memories at the end of it all. And we just have to hold on to those memories that make our hearts find comfort in the time that we need it. And I just pray that they find the comfort that is needed, and the mother and the father, and the father of the young lady, and all that stuff, and just and her children who actually left now without their mother to be there. And I pray that those children are guided and helped as they grow up, and that they don't hold on to this level of hatred and anger and grief that will stifle their growth and development. I just, as a country, we need healing. This has been a blow to the country, obviously, because we don't see this happening on a regular basis, but when it does happen, and it's happened too much already, it's kind of a strange statement, but the reality is we are facing some serious times in this country, and we need to find ways to deal with our grief, deal with our emotions, and a part of the challenge in dealing with our emotions is the fact that we are not as in tune with each other because we are so socially divided in so many ways, where we are isolated in our own bubble, that we don't have time to interact with individuals and have a sense of understanding when somebody's going through, how to deal with incidences when you have a problem and have a challenge. We get angry and we just speak all manner of things and just create all this animosity, and then we become divided as a people. We need to find a way to be strengthened in our resolve to become one once more, the loving, behaving people that we once knew we were growing up.
Well, the question that Peggy asked, which everybody is asking, is this two homicides? How is that? How do we in the Bahamas sort of look at that? In the United States, we know that an unborn child, particularly at 7 months old, is considered a human being. That's a life. Well, what about the Bahamas? And so we'll get this aspect of this story from Jose Etienne. Here's that report.
He will more than likely only be charged with the murder or whatever offense they choose to bring as it relates to the mother.
It just might be a tough pill to swallow for heartbroken relatives and residents who were expecting the alleged killer to be held responsible for the murder of Saunders and her unborn child.
You can only kill a life in being, which is a child that is expelled and has an independent circulation from the mother.
Given this sobering fact, Free National Movement Senator Maxine Seymour says legal reform is long overdue.
Any premature baby born at 7 months gestation is very likely to survive. And so I want us to be clear that I see this as a double homicide. I do not know how the law addresses it and if it's direct or outrightly stated, but if it isn't, then it's time to adjust our laws because we've lost 2 lives to date.
Meanwhile, Bishop Walter Hanschel is also outraged, noting that it's yet another case of women being murdered while such cases continue to pile up in the court system.
I believe at this point in time that our legislators, the ball is in their court now, our legislators must do something to correct this. Our judiciary should be calling for stronger penalties for such crimes.
This deadly tragedy also prompting women's rights activist Alicia Wallace to make demands for government to call it what she says it is.
Equality Bahamas is particularly concerned about the murders of women and girls and the continued failure of the government, this administration and previous administrations, to acknowledge these murders as femicide.
Well, you got the answer right there. Many people were wondering, listen, come on, this has to be considered a double homicide. You here in the Bahamas is not law. Now, that is not to say this individual cannot be tried perhaps for 2 murders, but it's not the law where it's mandatory. It is time, as you heard Christina Galanis say, and many others of the opinion, and really the Bahamian people, it's like, listen, this has got to be considered a double homicide.
But it's a conversation that we, like many, when there's a tragic story in our country when somebody is killed, whether a woman or a child, that we stop and start. There are so many distractions, so many other news story comes and push it aside, that the conversation is not completed. It's a stop-start conversation at each event, each gruesome murder of a woman or a child. There is a scheduled, outraged conversation and then a new topic. And I think people who are dedicated to the continuous debate, to the continuous agitation for stricter laws must be consistent, must be consistently loud in their advocacy on behalf of the victims. Cannot slack their writing. We have to take off a portion of what is needed to be done as a group and dedicate themselves or ourselves. And a preventative message, it should be already determined in this country whether a baby at 7 months is considered a human being in the womb. That conversation, like I say, stop and start, and mostly it is religion that stop and started or politics that stop and started. But we have to have these tough conversations to upgrade our laws and definitions in this country. So when there is an unfortunate incident, it is straightforward. There is no guesswork. Laws, acts, sections can be quoted to support whatever our laws are.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the legislators have to get on with it, but to the degree that the citizens themselves find themselves outraged to affect the change that needs to happen. You know, far too often in this country, we play coy and flippant with matters that are very important, and so much so that it almost seems like we don't care. You know, I mean, and we had the young lady a year or two ago who was on her way from school and was accosted and taken into the bushes. And that created outrage in the country. You know, what has happened since then? You know, this value for human life has been diminished in this country, and it's been consistently being diminished. The way we see our young men killing each other and cutting down each other on the streets. So there's something fundamentally wrong in our country, and I think it starts from where we are rearing our people up and how we're training them. If you go in places like Japan, where they learn respect for each other, and we can inculcate something like respect for each other, and go back to those foundational stuff, we'll change this country. Yes. But it has to be a willpower, and it cannot just be lip service. It has to be all throttle, pushing towards this, and everybody needs to be involved, and everybody needs to be engaged.
Yes, I absolutely agree. This is Beyond the Headlines. We're just getting started. Don't go anywhere. We're back right after the break.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
Welcome to Blissful Escapes, where luxury meets affordability. Whether you're seeking relief from aches and pains or simply looking to indulge in some well-deserved pampering, relax and detox in our infrared sauna. Enjoy a soothing Swedish massage or an invigorating exfoliating body scrub. We also provide advanced facial treatments using cutting-edge technology, including hydrofacial, microneedling, and microcurrent therapies, located at the shops of Cable Beach Plaza.
Running out of space? We've got room for that. Welcome to Skyline Storage, your trusted self-storage solution. Skyline Storage offers units from 5x10 to 10x30, climate-controlled or standard dry. Perfect for home or business. Located in Westfield Commerce Park, Western New Providence. Your belongings stay safe with gated access and 24/7 surveillance starting at $175 a month. Reserve, pay, and move in online. No phone calls, no paperwork. Visit SkylineStorage.com. Skyline Storage. Storage made simple.
7.5 years, gonna walk in here all of a sudden, total stranger. I'm calling you Rick and Sheila.
Hi, Ben. At Island Lock, we take sports seriously. Get ready to experience the thrill of winning anytime and any place. Bet in real time and live the thrill of every play while watching your winnings stack up. It's your chance to score big with fast payouts and a world-class experience. Get in the game and bet the Bahamian way with Island Luck Sportsbook.
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20-30-second ads for $2,000, or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. One 15-minute interview for $500 or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you all tuned in this evening. Well, the date for the by-election is now known. Get this, you all. The country's largest constituency is preparing for this by-election. Today, Laurencia Smith sat down with the parliamentary department, who says all systems are go for the political showdown.
The voter registration for the Golden Isles constituency is now officially closed ahead of the November 24th by-election.
Look at it being about 7,800, around that figure. Up to, yesterday, we're up to over 7,700. So we're looking at maybe between 7,700 to 7,800, give or take.
That's Parliamentary Commissioner Harrison Thompson breaking down how many voters were registered once the writ of election was issued by Governor General Cynthia Pratt. He explains who's eligible to vote in the by-election.
If they're on the permanent register, they would be able to vote. The register is continuous, and if they were on the register from 2017 to 2021, they would be able to vote in the by-election.
But before voters head to the polls, nomination day is set for October 31st over at the Anatole Rogers High School between 9 a.m. and 12 noon. However, we don't know how many candidates or who will contest the seat officially until that date.
His or her representatives will present all the documents that is required. The nomination papers, declaration of assets, and $400 that is required.
The Golden Isles seat became vacant following the untimely passing of former Member of Parliament Vaughn Miller in September. Progressive Liberal Party candidate Senator Darren Pickstock will face off against Brian Rowe for the Coalition of Independents. As for the Free National Movement, there's still no official word on whether the party will move forward with Brian Brown to contest the seat. The Democratic National Alliance has also not confirmed if they're planning on running a candidate. Meanwhile, the Joshua Source political party has confirmed by its leader, child activist Patrice Hannah-Carey, that they will not be contesting the seat in the by-election. This is the country's second by-election within the last 2 years. The last one was held back in 2023 when then Member of Parliament for West End and Bimini, Obi Wilshcombe, died. Thompson says that his team is ready.
Prepared. The only thing outstanding now is the ballot itself. We have all the materials that we need for the by-election, and we as soon as the nomination process is completed, we'll deal with the ballots.
Laurencia Smith, Eyewitness News.
Well, of course, you all heard that the registrar is the parliamentary registrar, yes? Is closed, and everything is a go. Everything is set for the 7,800 plus residents of Golden Isles. And so on the heels of the date of the Golden Isles by-election being announced, Coalition of Independents candidate Brian Rowe says he is confident he will come out on top at the polls against the Progressive Liberal Party's candidate Darren Pickstock and the Free National Movement's candidate Brian Brown. Rowe says he is focused on issues that have plagued the constituency for decades and is prepared to meet the charge given by the people.
I too am a resident of Golden Isles, so I am feeling what the constituents are going through. The smoke, the environment, roads, poor roads, flooding. Well, one of the major concerns for my constituents is the flooding, okay? And in that area, a lot of immigrants in that area also. And like I said again, I can identify with that because I live in the area. The PLP candidate, I mean, he doesn't live in the area, so I don't know how he can identify with the people. And the Coalition of Independence, you know, we settled our plans. We know what this country needs. I think that this by-election, this is the test, because once we win, once the Coalition of Independence win this seat in Golden Isles, I think this will create a domino effect for the others. Definitely not on the fence. The responses are, trust me, overwhelming. The people are sick and tired of the two governments, the two major parties. They, let's say, out of the persons that I have touched, let's say out of 100, 98% are totally ready for change. They are fed up and they are ready for something new.
Well, you all, your thoughts on, welcome back, of course, Peggy Candace and Glenroy Pratt. Your thoughts on Roll. Brian Roll says, of course, the Coalition of Independence candidate in Golden Isles in the upcoming by-election says, listen, he's certain that he will secure a victory. He says he knows Golden Isles knows him, and he is moving forward quite confidently. Your thoughts on some of the things he said?
Once we win. So sorry. I can't get that out of my head. Once we win, I mean, you got to give him points for confidence and a concerned look on his face. He said something that got my attention besides once we win. He said that the PLP candidate does not live in the constituency, so he don't know how he could relate. Well, flooding is a concern in most constituencies on this island to date. Potholes are concerned in each constituency. And so if that is what you're referring to, then most people can relate to each constituency. It is about the support the ground support that is swelling on both sides. I don't know about the COI. But when we look at the Progressive Liberal Party and the FNM.
Stick a pin right there then. You stick a pin, we'll come back there. Glenroy, you are a resident of Golden Isles, are you not?
Yes.
What is the energy towards the COI in Golden Isles?
What is the what?
Energy, interest.
Oh, yes, you're right. No, I mean, listen, I give him props for the fact that he said his constituents, and obviously he is already projecting himself to be victorious, and I commend him because he's a Bahamian and he deserves an opportunity. But I mean, realistically though, I mean, and come on, the person of Brian Brown has been in the constituency for over 15 years, walking in terms of not living in the constituency, because he lives in the constituency as well, but walking the beat door to door for the last 15 plus years. And that must count for something.
What does it count for?
It counts for...
What is it that, because you see, we'll ask this too, even though he's not a resident of Golden Isles, as we just heard, Darren Pickstock, we want to know what Darren track footprints look like. So then, Brian Brown, who has been there now for almost 2 decades, as you've said,
right?
What has he done in Golden Isles to convince Golden Isles that he is the one to go with?
Well, first of all, when you talk about trying to become a leader in a constituency, you have to show consistency. The fact that he's been around that long has shown the consistency and the support. Brian has served the former minister in both scenarios. He served consistently. Brian also hosts every year kids camps. Brian also takes the elderly out on a regular basis for tours and stuff like that. He participates in the help of the cleanup of the constituency. Brian is consistently, his office has been open, personally funded. You know, you would have found that office, it would have been more of a community center as opposed to a political office during the time that he was there. And obviously, the man has been working the ground. He's been hearing the concerns of the citizens and have been lending himself to try to help elevate the people in the constituency. I believe that somebody who has demonstrated a level of concern and consistency, even when it was not favorable to himself and having lost, it shows that he has a passion for what he is interested in doing. And for that reason, I think like many of the constituents have been saying, this time around is for Brian Brown, you know, and some are doubling down with Brian Brown. And so there's the reality of his footsteps, and I believe that he would prove to be successful. I think that what we need in our electoral process with individuals who come forth, they must show consistency. They must show that they have the desire to serve the people. It's not about them. See, I listen to some people today, right? They talk about when they go towards people, they tell them what they want to do and all this stuff. No, the first thing is you listen to what the people want.
What is it they need?
And you collectively gather the majority of the voices with the collective need. And that is your drive. That is your ambition. That is what you work towards. And I believe Brian Brown is demonstrating that. And I believe that he will become successful.
Peggy, your thoughts on Brian Brown?
Brian Brown has been an MP maker for many years in the Golden Isles constituency. Why did I say that? He has been an MP maker. It's just when it came to him becoming the MP, he was not successful, but he was successful as the chairperson for the Free National Movement Golden Isles constituency for many years, making many people who came into the constituency successful, even the late Vaughn Miller when he ran on the F&M ticket. And unfortunately, when he came up against Vaughn Miller, the last general election, he was unsuccessful. So the question needs to be asked, is he a better MP maker than being a successful at becoming the MP? Brian Brown, in all fairness, is one of the best, if not the best candidate that the Free National Movement has put forth so far. When it comes, like Mr. Pratt said, when it comes to working within his constituency, but will that be enough? The thing about our process is about supporting a support cast for leadership. Unfortunately for Brian Brown, being a good man in a bad party with poor leadership, Brian Brown, like Glenroy Pratt, represents a better version of the Free National Movement. Like Brian Brown, like Glenroy Pratt, represent a Free National Movement that was more caring and connected to the people.
But do you all not think that in Golden Isles, they will look at each individual candidate? And we're forgetting, we talked about the COI, we talked about the FNM, we talked about the PLP. Well, we'll talk about it in a minute, but there's also the DNA, and there's also a few other independents. And so the thing is, there are going to be several people, perhaps already started walking there. Over the weekend, we saw certainly the PLP and the FNM out in full force, going about, and the constituency offices opened, and them having sort of, I guess, meetings there, but as well as moving about throughout Golden Isles. But there's going to be so much footprints throughout that constituency with everybody else moving about as well.
The reality of our politics is this: we are electing leadership. Miss Senator Pickstock is a member of the Progressive Liberal Party, who is now serving government, the current government, with the Prime Minister being the leader of that party. When Bahamians go to the poll, they might like a candidate, but they are picking and supporting the leader of a party. And so even though we have two candidates, we're actually looking at the two leaders. Do we want to continue to support Brave Davis' leadership in this country, or are we considering the leadership of one Michael C. Pintard? And really, that is going to be the question, because win or lose, there are going to be significant outcomes to the different parties. For the FNM, it will be Michael Pintard losing a by-election for the second time. Would he be the one that the FNM wants to go into a general election, a two-time loser? Or would they continue with Mr. Philip Brave Davis? That is what is going to be taking place, momentum.
I'll say this.
Yes.
When you look at the streets, right, and this is probably a little bit off from what you're talking about, but I'll say this as well. The strange irony is the government, the Progressive Liberal Party, individuals are walking the streets in large numbers, I've been noticing. Mm-hmm. And the interesting fact is the streets they're walking on in terrible condition, and you're the government, and it's not fixed. That is something that I find laughable. And so when you talk about representation, if you could walk on streets that are in a deplorable state and you were asking for my vote, that tells you how you think of me. And so when I look at stuff like that, I have a concern. When I look at some of our areas where we have garbage building up, we have some of our buildings in terms of the look of downtown in some areas, and you are walking the street asking for my vote,
there's been a steady
there's a concern about that. Why am I now starting to see roads being paved? Now, after 4 years, you want to decide now in an election year, you're bringing the chocolates, you're bringing the roses, and you're trying to satisfy me. No, this is not the time for that.
Glenroy, one second, Peggy. 1 second, yes, the 1 second, Peggy, because Glenroy, one thing we can try to do in this election season, and we have a good series coming up for you that you're going to love. Once a week, we will spend that week focusing in on one constituency, so it's going to be awesome. But you must say there have been road works consistently.
What road works?
Yes, there have been. But even paving. For example, if East Bay Street is paved one more time, even in this term, I don't know what it is we'll be driving on. I don't know what the material is.
And I think that is it, because
maybe somebody getting grease.
Because we can't say that there was not paving
the roads
or
are really in need of
Listen, I can tell you,
patching.
and I have been saying this for the last several times I've been on the show. There are persons who ride and traverse from Carmichael, from Gladstone Road, all the way down to Coral Harbor. You have to duck and dodge, and you feel like you were in a horsey ride when you're riding on that road. And some members of parliament live in the constituency and it didn't fix. That is a problem. The basics. You are asking for my vote and can't take care of the basics. Something is wrong with that.
You know something? The last time you on this show, you hit my family member real hard.
No, I'm not even talking about your family.
But I tell you what you did. You hit my family member so hard with that right there. Let's say at one point, and again, guess what? I'm not saying the roads don't need to be repaved and all that stuff. Glenroy, but look what you did. Look at what you did last time. You hit my family so hard with that. I thought about you. That's what
don't say that. I know you. Don't say that.
I thought about him. Listen, no, seriously, no. I'll tell you this. I feel every candidate, particularly of the major parties, will have a lot of work and a lot of persuading to do. People are not just going to sit down and say, okay, you have got to come there not just with your plan. Yes, you need that, but you better get some stuff done now. This ain't the time for promises either. This is the time to work and then also show some deliverables by election, and also obviously a vision for moving Golden Isles forward.
With a budget.
Your budget better be healthy as well. This is Beyond the Headlines. When we come back, the Free National Movement giving a sneak peek into its manifesto. Wait until you hear about it. Coming up after the break. The race to 2026 is heating up, and the nation's voice is louder than ever. Here on Beyond the Headlines, we're checking the mood, the momentum, and the message of the people. I'm Shanique Miller. Each week, we're taking the temperature of the electorate to see what's really driving the nation. Who's connecting? Who's cooling off? What issues are heating up ahead of 2026? This is Temperature Check 2026, where journalism meets the nation's heartbeat.
We have to be mindful that as much as we want touristic development, what impacts the fisheries? Over-coastal development, destruction of mangroves, overzealousness of the industry. We have a new movement called do-it-yourself fishing. That is anglers who come to the Bahamas, they don't engage in hiring a guide. Because of this approach, you are going to have people who are going to exhaust the resources.
This is an industry that's preserved. It should be for Bahamian guides only. We have the DIYs coming in here and they're destroying our flats.
We try not to overfish certain areas, so we'll fish a certain area and we'll back off for a while because we don't want the fish to feel too much pressure.
It's not just using the buzzwords of the environment and the ecology
The tourists can be educated that the more you support local ownership, people are doing it obviously the right way, the more the economic circulation in the communities.
I think the most critical thing is accountability, and that accountability by way of legislation, both the Act and regulations to govern fly fishing in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
I look at conservation efforts and the regulation that I've seen to protect the industry that's in the developed world. All of those jurisdictions have implemented strong regulation to protect their fisheries. We are way behind, but we do have a movement and a consciousness. We know where we need to be. Those are our resources, and we have to make an exerted effort to protect it, because that's the only gift that we have been given. And if we don't protect that, then we lose everything.
Building the lodge, I understood clearly the mission to continue what my father started. From this lodge, it has served as the headquarters. We finally got legislation passed in 2016, and it legitimized the guiding profession. We pushed to get the program established into BAMSI in the training of the next generation of guides, but it extends way beyond that.
We need more Bahamians in the industry who are doing the research to provide the information to the industry, that is to fishermen and to everybody who benefits from the resources.
We don't know the resources in this country. We grew up just hearing about sun, sand, and sea.
It is going to be through education and awareness, whether it's within our schools, whether it's in our communities, to conserve the environment, that is going to sustain the fly fishing industry.
Well, the future of fly fishing in the company, I think fly fishing is a very, very unique spot. I think it's going to get better because the guides are now being all certified. They're all getting proper knowledge of handling and how to run the whole system.
If you're a youngster and you want to get into this, it's a job like any other job. You got to live it. You got to love it.
Young entrepreneurs coming in, you want that kind of interest, you want that kind of drive and desire. You want to carry that. You want to become the product.
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20 30-second ads for $2,000 or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. 1 15-minute interview for $500 or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Thank you so much, viewers, for your participation in tonight's show. Many people say, listen, people are missing the fact that it takes, like, for example, anywhere else in the world, there are different tiers of government. Well, in the Bahamas, they're saying they are wealthy residents, they're the business owners, the churches, there are just so many sort of tiers in a community that in the Bahamas, though, we ain't coming together to assist and make nothing happen on no community level. No, it's where the government is and whatever. Another comment says, listen, speaking of when Glenn Roy says, oh, the roads are now just being paved, which I said, no, these roads been being paved now for a while. There have been national road projects happening for quite some time now across the nation. But another viewer said, listen, a lot of this stuff is the PLP and the FNM do it. This is what another viewer says. So I thank you very much for all of your comments. Keep them coming. Yes, Peggy, I know you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I want to say the paving and repaving, especially patching of hole, is ongoing, all administration. At one point I asked, what type of material are you using? Because once the rain come, and we've had rain every day for almost 2 months, and we had that crazy rainy storm that flooded most of Nassau. And so the roads were bigger and bigger, the holes. But I believe, because contracts for patching of holes are given out, and each administration mainly to support us, I believe there got to be some training for individuals, some certification. I don't know if there is, but if there isn't, some certification that anybody awarded a contract for patching or paving are certified like in any industry.
Yeah.
To carry out this function, and you just can't get a little car or truck. I saw someone patching with street lights, 2 cars, and the people in the middle. And I took a picture and I sent it to the right person. I said, no wonder these things are not done. These people in the dark, 2 little notes or whatever, and that's what they were patching the road. There got to be a standard, a minimum requirement to receive these contracts for such essential service to this country, because the hole you throw it in, somebody, I say, they must do a drive-by, because the slush, that's how the thing of no even out, no nothing, and even though I'm making light of it, there got to be some training for individuals who are awarded these contracts, because each time a contract is given, money is spent.
To ensure that they're able to do the work. Yeah, Glenn, right?
Yeah, well, a part of that again is anytime something doesn't make sense, somebody making money. I often say that too.
I like that.
The other challenge though in this country is that woe to us as a people when your employer is your employee. And by that I mean, you find yourself compromised. We are a compromised people. The government is too oversized in terms of the employment. And so what happens is that they have to pacify the people in order to sustain themselves, to ensure that they maintain these votes. And so we face these problems consistently because of that. The public sector needs to be shrunk a bit, so much so that we don't have such a reliance on government, and we can have more demand on government.
Because who's going to do that?
Right? No,
first of all, you see the big row it is just to give them more money.
No, but here's
the public service.
Yeah, but here's the part of that. A part of that is this is where the government's responsibility is to make sure that they are ensuring one, our educational system. That's why we got to pay the teachers. That they have the best qualified teachers, so much so that we could develop more entrepreneurial mindsets, so much so that we can have a less reliance on government, and that way we have more private sector business being created and created more opportunities.
Well, I'll tell you, and Glenn, I love you said that. That I wanted to share you all, but perhaps I'll do it later in the week because the news carried it tonight. It was on the show last night, so you all see it. But I like to share news like that because it's time that we matured as a people. We're 52. We are 52 years old and still looking around like what's up? Well, Robert Karen has such an incredible vision for Michael. I'll get into that later in the week, but I really need to get to this before we wrap up this evening. The Free National Movement released a glimpse of what's to come, possibly in the party's manifesto, head upcoming the election. It released on its website. The plan promises to cut taxes for ordinary Bahamians, removing VAT and import duties on healthy foods and essential medications. It also promises to lower the cost of living and improve public health. Now, families would see new support, including $200 per month in child benefits for the first 2 years of life, alongside stronger resources for teachers, aiming to give students the best start from cradle to college. The FNM also pledges to build at least 5,000. This one was what Adrian, I think, messed up on, because here Adrian said 2,000 homes a year. Well, the FNM is pledging to build at least 5,000 new homes, I guess in its term, across the Bahamas, giving more citizens the chance to own their own home. Fixing the nation's struggling healthcare system is also a priority. The Free National Movement says it will hire 100 new doctors and 200 nurses. It will upgrade hospitals and address the growing mental health crisis. National health insurance would be expanded to ensure everyone can access affordable care. Young people would receive a $100 weekly stipend for training programs, helping them to gain valuable skills and tackle youth unemployment. Now, on the matter of crime, the Free National Movement promises to recruit 150 new police officers each year and implement a 10-point crime plan targeting the root causes of violence. The Free National Movement is also launching Operation Shield to tackle the immigration crisis, securing borders, increasing surveillance, and ensuring fairness and transparency. And to grow the economy, well, the FNM says it will cut the red tape, my lord, support small businesses, and create more well-paying jobs. I said my lord for the red tape, but we all know about the red tape. Finally, the Free National Movement pledges to crack down on corruption, stop wasteful spending, and ensure taxpayers' money is spent on programs that benefit all Bahamians. I want you both to jump in and talk about some of the FNM's plans that I just read just now, but that they released earlier today.
What they plan on doing, what is being done now, especially when it comes to housing. I mean, I would challenge the Progressive Liberal Party to put out their stats on how many homes were built so far, and the islands, because I know some were built in Eleuthera, all across New Providence. So the FNM Shield, I mean, we being Shields, we have the Defense Force, we have the Air Wing, and we have other units within the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. Everything that they stated, I guess the $200 per child, which is $49 or $47 in some cents per week, a child, that might be different, but would it be enough?
Now, what about the $100 for paying people, I guess, to study, perhaps?
I cannot confirm, but I know once upon a time that was being done for different professions, nursing and different professions. They were receiving stipend. And so that's what I'm saying. I mean, I wish I had known this information earlier to do a check and an analysis.
We'll come back to it.
Be better equipped. But I'm sure whatever they Google face is already being done because they don't have that going on.
No, it sounds like Peggy.
I just tell you, it is being done. Whatever they say they want to do,
but right
is
now,
being done.
Yes, right now, it's what I will do is I will look and say, okay, what on this list is being done? What on this list is doable? Because and the same thing with when any other organization puts out its list.
If you say you're going to cut taxes in some areas and increase giving out money in other areas, where you getting the money from?
How you gonna afford that?
Well,
and so yes.
Where you getting the money from? You ain't gonna increase taxes. You're cutting prices. Where you getting the money from? And reasonable thinking Bahamians need to ask the question: where is the money coming from?
Well, if you look at the last part of the statement, right? Obviously, these initiatives are good steps towards building the Bahamian people. I hear you say a lot of this stuff are being done. I'll give the fact that the PLP has built some homes in the last couple of years, and these homes are good for Bahamians, and I'm glad Bahamians have an opportunity to have a place that they could call their homes. But there's also another reality. In the last several years, a lot of Bahamians have been paying lots of monies out as well. When you talk about increased light bills and the consistency of those charges that we've been facing. And so when you talk about what the FNM plan is, they're talking about reducing some of these costs that the Bahamian people are paying. They also talk about, when you talk about corruption and trying to stop wasteful spending, you'd be surprised to know how much millions of dollars goes out the door. So to answer your question, relative to how it's going to be paid for by stopping that type of stuff from happening.
When is it not done, though?
Well, it cracks down when it becomes a focus. Any government that focuses on a particular item, it becomes a reality.
Because you have this.
And so the fact is, the Bahamian people have to be the ones that elevate and consistently agitate for these things to be at the forefront of any government. And so much so that where we are involved in our electoral process, that's where we see changes. Far too often, we rely on governments to tell us what their objectives are, as opposed to us telling the government what our objectives are, and then we demand what we want. But we have to be consistent with that demand. We have to be involved with that demand. We can't just say it when election comes around. We have to stand up and say to you,
that's the thing.
This is what we
We've got
expect.
to look at these election promises from every side, because how are you going to afford it? And when you lower VAT, for example, we were talking during the break about every time you visit just one state. Let's just an example that's the closest to us. South, and not even Florida, South Florida. There's some road work going on. There's some enhancements, some improvement. Well, that is because they pay a tremendous amount of taxes. Speaking of utility bills, the United States is under an electricity crunch right now, and their bills are going up. Now, they, of course, have multiple electricity providers in one state alone. I have family and friends who in their county have been already told that come next year, they're given advance notice, expect an increase. And then others in another county are saying, Shanique, well, our electricity provider has already applied for an increase. So electricity is something that wait, Glenroy, electricity,
all the stuff here.
They got sun too?
No, we got sun. We have so much opportunities
Florida
to reduce
has sun.
costs.
I am saying that, and I'm not excusing the fact that we should not tap into our natural resources, whether it's the sun, the ocean, the wind, all this stuff. What I'm saying is, things that we're talking about here are not synonymous to here. It's issues that must be addressed in a sensible and measured way to bring about long-term solutions and relief. Because electricity bills are going up in the United States.
It's astronomical.
But it's a different. Number one, it's a different economy. It's a different everything.
Yeah, it's a different economy. The Bahamian people in the last several months have been feeling like they've been getting shafted with light bills that are increased. I saw somebody post today. They are almost equal to their mortgage. It's ridiculous. That should never be in a country like this. And then we brag about how we're supposed to be reducing the cost of living, when at one end you give it and you take it away.
But this
Come
is
on.
what the promises of the Free National
No, but the PLP promised to pay the teachers.
Yes.
Where are they going to get their money from?
Where
are they going to get the money from?
December.
No, I'm not talking about when he's going to pay it. He said when he's going to pay it, but how is he going to pay it?
The Prime Minister said it was not a money issue, but an administration issue.
So where is the money coming from?
He said they don't have a problem with the money.
Okay, but the same Prime Minister said that we had a surplus, right? We had a $7-point-something million surplus, and what happened to that? I didn't say it. When it was recorded that I said it.
The surplus is projected for 2026. Budget ending 2026.
But he said at the time, because the Bahamian people